Thank you very much. My name is Frank van der Heide, as mentioned from Tuinbranche Nederland. First of all, I want to thank you for being here, for the invitation. And second of all, in the beginning, my apologies for my English, because when I am in this room, then I realize that I speak too less English. So I have to get in, but we will get there. I will tell you something about our association, the consumer market in 2025, and our ambition and how we work in the Dutch retail market. Tuinbranche Nederland, we are the association of the garden industry. We have 550 garden centers and garden shops in the Netherlands. We have 120 suppliers of mostly the dead materials, the pottery, the decoration material, the artificial plants, and more also growers from beautiful green products. In our stores we have over the year about 70 million visitors. So it's a beautiful place where we can tell the story about the value of green. The reach we have next to that, with our members, we have over 90% of the market in the Netherlands. We have with our trading companies also the reach into the international retailers, and as member from the IGCA, International Garden Center Association, we have a lot of collaboration with garden centers all over the world. Our mission is to contribute to a healthy, green, pleasant and sustainable living environment for people and animals in and around the house. But the most beautiful thing is our dream. And our dream is to have a Veluwe extra. A Veluwe full of greenery. The Veluwe is the biggest nature reserve in the Netherlands, and it is a beautiful, amazing place. And we want to have a Veluwe extra on green. Why do we want that? Because there are a lot of goals we have to work on together worldwide, and one of them is climate change. And when we look at the Netherlands, and we look at the private gardens, we have in the Netherlands 5.5 million private gardens, and those gardens are on the average about 100 square meters. And when we green them, the upcoming next 5 years with 2 square meters a year, we have 10 square meters in every garden, and that's 55 million square meters on green. And that is as big as the Veluwe. So that's why we work on a Veluwe extra, to have more green in the gardens, because we all know greener cities and greener gardens are climate proof for the heat, for the water, for the rain, and that's why we work on that all together. But we also know that consumers find it quite difficult to adapt this idea. So we invited the climate squares, and climate squares are squares of 30 square meters in garden centers, where we show square meter solutions to how to green your garden. So tails out, plants in, a hedge instead of a van, ponds, and all other practical things. And this is a unique collaboration. This is a collaboration of the garden centers, this is a collaboration of the municipalities, and also of the water boards. So all these squares, they cost about 7,500 euros, are being paid by 3 clubs. The retailer pays 2,500, the municipality pays 2,500, and the water boards pay 2,500, because they all want to tell the consumer how to act and how to make their garden, their private garden, climate proof. So this is really unique. At this moment we have 70 climate squares, and if we really want to make impact, we have to go to 160 or 170 climate squares. So that's our goal for the next years, where we want to work on. And this is one of the examples of the climate square. But next to that, we help our members on several themes, from staff till sustainability and to the retail and innovation. And our newest project is Retail 2030. Everybody is focused on today. But we have a group of 80 members, the top members, and we think with them and talk with them about 2030. And how should our country, our world look like? And what is the part of retail in that, garden retail? And how can we be ready for 2030 and take care that we have a good and a sustainable model then? So working on 2030, what should we do right now to be then successful? And we asked ChatGPT, how should it look like in 2050? So that's the other idea for the future. To the consumer, there's a lot of things are happening. We don't have the globe, but we all see that there is a lot of uncertainty ahead. The world is quite difficult. We have some special leaders all over the world, not only these two, but there are even more. We see refugees because of war, because of climate change, because of some places we can't live anymore, because of different reasons. The climate, I already mentioned, this happens every now and then in the Netherlands, probably also in your country. And how should we act on that? We all have 24/7 access to all products, to all information, to all inspiration, but also to news, real news, fake news. So this is what is happening in our world. Looking at retail, we are using more and more technology. Robots are being tested. Last year we tested robots in garden centers. Can they sell houseplants? And they did. So learning from each other and learning from the technology. Sustainability, today also already mentioned. It isn't just a part, it is in our DNA, it's our business, and we have to take care of it. The consumer is asking for us. On the other hand, we see platforms like Temu, producers going directly to consumer. Is retail in 2050 still needed? So what should we add to our retail concepts to inspire customers to have them in our stores and to attract them to buy the products? Or are we going to be a place to be instead of a place to buy? So what's our business model in future and what will it do? The generation differences, we all know them and we all see them. The younger generation has total different demands and wishes than the elder generation. So how do we work with them together, but also as customer? But one very important thing is that the spirit of the times is green. We have the growing popularity of the urban greening, the urban gardening. We see the increasing interest in the health, bringing to the people of the well-being. So that's one of the things we have to embrace, because we see green in the home environment. We have the yoga garden, we have the barbecue garden, we have the balcony where we sit, and the balcony we green. And we have the communal garden, working together, and also as a social place. We have to adopt the climate, and we have to use our small gardens for that. We have the outdoor kitchen and we have the indoor garden. So green is very, very hot. The eco-roof and the vertical garden, we see it all over. Mostly by municipalities and big companies, and the consumer is also adopting it slowly. And we have the greening of the living environment, and I think that's very important that we focus on that. And our business, as we are all together, as retailers, as suppliers, as producers, as transporters, everybody, we have a green heart, and we could use it more and more. So is green the new gold? It could be. But if we want that, we have to be sure that it is right and that it contributes to the future. And in the Netherlands, it started in 2016 when Greenpeace was knocking on the door. They bought plants in garden centers and there was poison on the plants. And that was quite difficult for the retailers because what should you do with that? So we brought them all together, all retailers, all members, and we said, we have a dilemma. Should we react or do we make our own plan? And we were told that when we react, there would be tomorrow another Greenpeace or somebody else. And the second thing was that we said, This is not only because our customer or the NGO wants it, but we also want it. We want to be green and we want to do it better. So we made our own plan, together with the retailers, together with the trading companies, together with a knowledge porter, CLM, and together with an NGO. We asked Greenpeace if they wanted to join, but they said, we never join. So we found another NGO who is keeping up the mirror for us. Are we taking really the good steps we have to take? Because we wanted to do it more sustainable with opportunities for the sector. So we made an ambition, and you see over here, ambition 5.0, but we started with ambition 1.0. And in the ambition, we had some goals and some ideas, some wishes and demands to suppliers of plants to garden centers, to take care that it is getting better and better, more sustainable, using the pesticides that have the lowest impact on the environment. So it's a dynamic ambition that we change every 2.5 years, and that is how we work with it together with all retailers. How does this work? The retailers ask the supplier, can you deliver, confirm the ambition? And first, in the beginning, we did it by sending an email, and nowadays it is digitalized, so it's all covered in one place. And at this moment, we have almost 800 suppliers, growers, who deliver, confirm this ambition. We started in the Netherlands. We are now talking to the foreign suppliers, and that's, well, also challenging because of the language, because of the difference of demands from the law on using pesticides, but we are getting there. But it needs time, and now we need to scale up because it's very important that we go on with this. Every year we also do our own residue research. So buying plants in the garden centers, testing them, and we see how it works and how it goes on the ambition we have. And what you see on the right hand, for example, is that the plants with offenses on the ambition are getting lower and lower and lower. And this year, I just saw this morning the first results. There are no offenses of the ambition. So we are very proud of it, and we still work on it to make it bigger and better. But sometimes there is an offense on the ambition, and then we talk to the supplier. We have here and counter here, and from that on, we try to find out why some pesticides are being used. And that gives a lot of inside information for the whole chain, for the supplier, for the retailer. And that's how we learn all together. And then there's also the possibility when it is being done by purpose, then there can be a red card that the supplier is not going to deliver on that retailer again for the first half year. And he has to show that he can do it also better. And if he doesn't, then it still keeps blocked. The learnings we have is that the more participants we have, the stronger it is, because that's clear for the market. The suppliers know how to deliver. So we now have appointments with other retailers, with the food, for example. So one of the biggest food suppliers who are also selling plants in the Netherlands are going to join the ambition. We talk to DIY, so there will be one ambition for the whole retail market. But we also need to talk more about it and to do it all together in the chain and to have the discussion all together. Because it is not only the retailer, it is not only the grower, it is the whole chain, and we have to do this all together. Well, the continuation is that the collaboration is very important because we only can do this together, and the pressure on the market is high and is getting higher. More and more we see in the Netherlands, and I think the Netherlands is one of the countries where it happens the first time, and then it will be as a ring, having also other countries in Europe in this. we have more and more questions from customers also. So we try to tell in the stores, in the garden centers also what we do. And I think that's one of the learnings we have had. Consumers do not read on the floor in the store. So how can we communicate about this? How can we learn them where we are working on? That we are a green sector and we are trying to do it better and better and better. But we also need time. And that's also what's being mentioned earlier today. We need time to do it better and to find out the best solution with the lowest impact. Because we want green to be green. One of the things we are facing now is some plants need a lot of help, a lot of protection. Is it thinkable that some plants we will skip from our assortment? When these plants use 80%, for example, of the pesticides, of the harming pesticides, why shouldn't we skip them? So when we skip 2 or 3 or 4% of our complete arsenal, maybe then we have a bigger impact than doing it on all plants. So that's what we think about now. And the second thing is, 2 weeks ago, everybody signed in for the next step in the ambition. In 2030, the ambition is that 70% of the supply line in garden centers is grown pesticide-free, chemical-free. And that's quite a goal. Is it realizable? We don't know yet. We have to work on it. We have to talk about it. We have to learn all together with the lowest impact. And that's the goal we are going for. And that's also the learnings we have to have. In the end, we have a beautiful green product. We have consumers who are in a green mood. We have seen, we have greening cities, we have the goal on the climate change, so how can we add to that? We have to take care that our product is good and it fits in the future. So that's our goal and that's our license to operate. So let's green the world together. Thank you very much.